Only 3 members of the string quartet are playing in this passage. A poignant, yearning melody in the viola is accompanied by chords in the second violin and cello. The first 3 melody notes, G, B, C sharp, return as the chord at the end of the passage. That final chord has a cadential feel, as though the melody and chords were directed toward the return of the first 3 notes. We will try to figure out why. There are 3 chords in the accompaniment, numbered 1, 2, and 3. The second chord is related to the third chord by transposition at T4. Each note in the second chord moves up 4 semitones to its destination in the third chord. G and E flat in the second chord move up 4 pitch semitones to B and G. The A in the second chord moves to C sharp, but the C sharp is 2 octaves lower than expected. That harmonic gesture, T4, transposition up 4 semitones, replicates the T4 relationship between the first 2 notes of the melody, G and B. That particular pair of T4-related notes, GB, is also found in the bass register of the harmonic progression. The melody contains 2 additional forms of the same set class, 0, 2, 6, and these are related by the inversion around the F, G they share. So first B, G, F, overlapped with G, F, C sharp. So now we have identified 5 forms of 0, 2, 6 in this passage, 3 in the melody and 2 in the accompanying chords. The melody starts with G, B, and C sharp. Two inversion related forms later in the melody. The second of the 3 accompanying chords. And the cadential final chord. Taking the 3 different transpositionally related forms of 0 to 6 in the passage, we note that they are connected by the same intervals of transposition, 2, 4, and 6, as the intervals formed among the notes of the motive itself. So G, B, and C sharp contain a 2, a 4, and a 6. And the same intervals of transposition connect the transpositionally related forms of 0, 2, 6. In the whole passage, we can identify 3 melodic and 3 harmonic forms of 0, 2, 6. The melodic forms are the first 3 notes and the 2 inversionally related forms in the melody. The harmonic forms are a new form in measure 2 that combines the melodic F with the upper 2 notes of the chord. The the second of the three accompanying chords, and the third and final accompanying chord. In both melody and harmony, it is possible to link the forms of 026 into an RI chain that binds them and directs the motion toward the concluding G-B-C sharp. That final chord feels cadential because it is both a return to the opening three notes and the culminating arrival of two RI chains of 026. In the melody, reading from the top note down, first we have C sharp, B, and G, then B, G, F, and G, F, C sharp. Those are the two inversion-related forms we talked about before. Then we can imagine the chain as continuing through a hypothetical missing link, F, C sharp, B, arriving finally on C sharp, B, G, our destination, rearranged as the final chord of the passage. In the harmony, still reading from the top down, we have F, A, E flat, overlapped with A, E flat, and G. The chain continues through a missing link, A, C sharp, and G, arriving on the final chord, C sharp, G, B. Again, rearranged as the final chord of the passage. The final chord can also be understood as the conclusion of a three-chord progression in the accompaniment. The progression involves a fuzzy T1 and a crisp T4, combining to create a fuzzy T5 that spans the passage. In the progression from the first chord to the second chord, D moves to E flat, and A flat moves to A by T1, up a semitone, as shown by the solid arrows. The other two voices are just off from T1. One is a semitone too high, and the other is a semitone too low, as shown by the dotted arrows. We already discussed the motion from the second chord to the third. It's T4, where each note moves up 4 semitones to its destination. The motion from the first chord to the third chord is fuzzy T5. Two voices move by 5 semitones, the solid arrows, while the other two voices are off, either a semitone too high or a semitone too low, the dotted arrows. The same constellation of intervals, 1, 4, and 5, resonates in the melody also, both in its smaller intervallic cells and the final notes of each of its 3 phrases. There are 2 little packages of these intervals, C, C sharp, A flat, and F sharp, G, B. If we take the last note of each of the 3 phrases, C sharp, F, and C, we find the same group of intervals expressed over this larger musical span. Just as the final chord is the culmination of a harmonic process, the final melody note is the culmination of a melodic process.